Hello, buddy. Senior engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about Palantir, a latest blog post about IoT. I want to talk about how this relates to not just Palantir IoT, but also genomics. I want to talk about this huge topic in today's video. And I also wanted to bring up this Reddit thread that was posted earlier today. It is basically the biggest bear position on Palantir. I want to talk about this in this video, and hopefully you guys can get some value from this video. Now, before we do that, guys, before we jump into today's topic, do like this video, smash that like button, destroy that like button, guys. Really helps this channel. You guys know how the YouTube algorithms work. You gotta like this video. You have to subscribe, guys. If you haven't, please do consider subscribing. We are almost at over 1,000 subscribers. Huge growth, an amazing community. I love it. Thank you so much for support, guys. And if you have any input, feedback, comment in today's video, always leave it in the comments section below this video. So this article here, this was published today on Medium, and it is basically making IoT functional today, learning from the field, right? So this was published by Palantir, and basically what Palantir is talking about here is basically that they are doing a push in the IoT world, right? So what is IoT? Why does this matter, and how does this fit into Palantir's story, and also how this relates to genomics, which obviously we talk a lot about in this channel. First of all, IoT, guys, is everywhere, right? IoT, first of all, you have your smartphone, so that's basically a device with many sensors, therefore is a type of IoT. Now, obviously, when we talk about IoT on the field, we're not talking about your smartphones, we're talking about sensors, right? Garbage sensors, water level sensors, pressure valves, humidity sensors, temperature sensors, traffic light sensors, stop lights sensors, camera sensors, all sorts of sensors, right? And you have all these IoT sensors around all your roads, traffics, establishment, institutions, buildings, sewers, all type in your homes. You have all types of sensors, and what is these sensors doing? Well, basically, they're recording data if you allow them to do it, right? So a sensor just basically grabs whatever its job is, right? And if it can record that data, its job is not to decode that data or to make sense of that data, right? Just like what we talked about big data. What big data is basically a set of data, right? Set of input. That's all it is. But you need this mechanism to sort of clean that data, to make sense out of data, right? This is sort of what Tesla is doing, obviously, with their full self driving cars on the roads, with all their sensors on the car, including camera visions. They're getting all sorts of data, right? Billion miles of data. But what do you need to do in terms of software to decode that data? That's the bread and butter, right? When it comes to big data, just having data is not enough, right? Having data is good, it's a great start, but it's not the end goal here, right? The end goal is to make outcomes, to have outputs that can improve your organization, that can improve efficiencies, reduce inefficiencies, reduce costs, reduce delays. And that's what big data can allow you to do. Now, what Palantir is doing here is obviously Palantir is all about that software. It's all about leveraging software, building big contracts with the institutions, with governments, and so on. And obviously, they are hiring the best and the best engineers to work on their mission. They've been around for over a decade. We've covered Palantir in this channel. I'll link the video in this channel somewhere. But the last video I made on Palantir, and we've sort of covered as to why Palantir is up to be a potential 10x, considering they were officially added just under 2 weeks ago by ARKG, which is the ARK Invest Genomics Fund, which basically means that ARK Invest is now evaluating Palantir as a genomics company, right? And in the past, Palantir has made deals with genomics company in the healthcare industry. That has not been something new. What is new is now they are officially recognized as a genomics company by by ARK Invest. So what they're trying to achieve here, guys, maybe they're talking about how big data is a commodity, right? And that there is a need to improve efficiencies of these organizations and to make sense of all this data they're gathering from all these sensors around the world, right? And again, if you can help one or two organization with your software, you can build lifelong relationships, lifelong contracts with them, right? You can offer other solutions, not just your core solution that was originally made to improve their efficiencies through making sense of big data, right? It's like you have to think about this like being an entry door, right? IoT solutions allow these types of companies like Palantir to enter in the door of these companies, these organizations that previously would never come in contact with Palantir or the likes if it was not for a platform like the IoT, right? These companies, they don't have the R&D teams, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the experience, they don't have bandwidth or the knowledge to work with these types of sensors. So to me, this is an amazing opportunity what Palantir is doing. This article here, highly advise you guys to read it. I will definitely link it in the description below. And really, in this blog post, they're talking about how they're approaching the IoT world, how it is all about leveraging IoT smaller systems, leverage that into a bigger system, and sort of get your foot in the door. And it's all about getting the into data integration right, making sense of that data, and then basically making different platforms work seamlessly together, right? It's not just a question about getting the job done, it's about a question about how you can leverage the software that Palantir is offering, the collaboration that Palantir is offering, and sort of make sense and seamlessly integrate with whatever the company is doing, right? Whether they're in the mining industry, the gas industry, the energy industry, or just the retail industry, banking systems. It doesn't matter what it is, right? City lights, city traffics. What matters is how can they seamlessly integrate with what this organization, this entity is trying to achieve, right? And ultimately, if you can get that done, then these contracts are just going to get more lucrative, more bigger. And I think this is just amazing. So I really like this article here from the Palantir Time Series lead. That's quite interesting. Time series. That's a engineering term, but anyways, this author here wrote it on Medium, which is obviously a public website where many organizations post their blogs, the blog post, and this was their blog post that I really wanted to cover really briefly. Again, we don't get to cover a lot of Palantir in this channel, but when we get these types of articles, these types of news, I really want to do it. I do you guys a favor to cover this because again, Palantir is one of these revolutionary companies that were just under $50 billion market cap, I believe. And we strongly believe in this channel they could easily 10x within the next years. We strongly believe this. Many Palantir bulls believe the same storyline, especially Tom Nash, the YouTuber. So shout out to this article. Shout out to Palantir for working in this field. Just by my own experience in the IoT space, the world is vast when it comes to IoT. There are many opportunities, and you just got to think about how you can get your foot in the door in these types of verticals, these types of companies. The next thing I wanted to cover, guys, is this Reddit thread. And I sort of started reading it. I sort of got busy, sidetracked earlier, so I didn't get to finish it. But I really found this interesting. This is basically a thread on our stocks, subreddit stocks. And it says the Palantir bear case, best bear case I found, right? So what this guy is basically, it's basically someone that was involved a lot with Palantir, with big data, AI initiatives, and sort of work with dozen of Fortune 1000 companies in US. And basically, they have a bear case against Palantir, right? So they're using terms such as nothing special with this company. Foundry, which is one of the applications of Palantir, the software application, is essentially a MicroStrategy clone, which obviously we've covered MicroStrategy in the Bitcoin world. And basically, they're sort of downgrading Palantir's software. They're saying there's nothing special about it. They're going technical. They're talking about Python, R. They're talking about specific of Palantir software. I found that really interesting for someone to pose this much of a depth. I'm really looking forward for you guys to give me a read of what you guys are thinking about this article, what you guys thought about this bear case. Again, in this channel, we want to cover both sides, guys, not just the bull case. We always want to look at the negative side of things, the risks involved, and that essentially leads us to read bear cases, whether that's in Palantir, whether that's in one of the CRISPR companies, and or whether that's any of these genomics or any company or any asset to begin with. So really interesting. Give me your input, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this bear case from Palantir. And I guess I didn't really cover as to how the first news here, the IoT, made sense in the genomics world. But really quickly, before I forget and end this video, um, genomics, guys, the biggest issue right now in genomics is all about diagnostics, right? Diagnostics tools are weak. It's a lot of crap and shoot right now. It's like, let's try and let's see what we can get out of it. So if you get this sort of big data, which Dr. Sam, CEO of CRISPR Therapeutics, talked a lot about, he talked a lot about how making sense of big data and artificial intelligence to reduce delays, reduce costs when it comes to genome editing companies, CRISPR technology, or just genomics in general, biotech in vast general, right? So if you can leverage that, right, and if you can get the likes of Palantir to enter it, which they've already done, but to really expand in that field and make sense of all these sensors, this IoT world, and increase that efficiency with big data, because ultimately, if you can make sense of big data from IoT sensors, you can definitely make sense of big data from different type of verticals, right? It doesn't really have to be a physical IoT sensor, right? Ultimately, it's just an input, right? When you think about it, input, output, that's all it is, right? And between the input and output, that's where Palantir comes into play. And the output for genomics company, CRISPR companies, for example, is to reduce delays, reduce costs, and reduce those unnecessary test labs, test runs, trials, and really I think Palantir has a space, has an angle to this. I'm looking forward for what you guys think about this. I've talked about this in the previous video, but I'm just wanted to squeeze that in today's video since I think it makes sense. So hopefully you guys appreciate this video. I'm already going well above 10 minutes here, so hopefully you guys appreciate the video. Like this video if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, guys. Like I said, almost 1,000 subscribers. The support has been amazing. The community is amazing. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for support, guys, and we will see each other in the next video tomorrow on a beautiful Tuesday. Thanks for watching.